The following broadcast of the Maui Chamber of Commerce's Business Matters was originally broadcast on April 18th, 2023.
It's time now for Business Matters with Pamela Toompop. Good morning, Pam.
Great to welcome you again to Business Matters every Tuesday morning. Today we're going to speak with John DeFries of the Hawai'i Tourism Authority about Hawaii tourism's recovery and future. We're going to discuss workforce issues with Doreen Forsberg of People Ready, and we'll learn more about Maui Printing Company and its array of services from Robert Campbell. But let's get started. We're going to have John DeFries, who is the head of Hawai'i Tourism Authority, tell us a little bit about the recovery. He leads the state's pivot towards regenerative tourism, which seeks to balance the economics of tourism with the well-being of our communities and natural resources. John took the helm of the agency in September of 2020. You can imagine what that was like. And 6 months into the global pandemic, he created a prime opportunity for the reinvention of Hawaii's largest industry around the concept of malama, which means care, protection, and stewardship. Born in Waikiki before it became the economic center of Hawaii tourism, John was raised by family elders steeped in Hawaiian culture. He has 5 decades of professional experience in tourism and resort development, and we are thrilled to have him with us this morning. Good morning and aloha, John.
Pamela, good morning. It sounds like a really old guy.
But if anybody knows you, they know how young you act and how young you are at heart.
Well, I appreciate that. Good morning to everyone in Maui County.
Yes, thank you so much. We're so thrilled to have you with us. You joined HTA, just at a very challenging time. And share with us a little bit, John, about how Hawaii's post-pandemic recovery has been going.
Well, I think all indications from an economic standpoint are very promising. We ended calendar year 2022 with fewer visitors statewide, 9.2 million. But the visitor expenditures, as compared to 2019, went from 17.7 billion to 19.3 billion. So we've got less visitors to report, roughly 11% less, and about 8% growth in visitor expenditures. When you net all that out, that translates into roughly 2.21 billion in state tax revenue. So on that end of the equation, we got to those numbers much quicker than I thought we would, but I would caution us from becoming overly confident, because that performance is happening in a global marketplace that is not quite stabilized. The U.S. market is outperforming itself as compared to 2019. Some of our major markets in Asia at the moment are underperforming, like China and Japan in particular, but we have much to be grateful for.
Absolutely. And in the Asian markets, what is recovery looking like there?
Japan, which is our second largest major market to the United States, there is a currency rate exchange that is a barrier of sorts. I mean, it's in the last 6 months, that dollar to yen ratio has been disproportionate, ideal for those of us that want to visit Japan, but for the Japan traveler, it adds a significant amount to their investment in a trip. And then we have a fuel surcharge that is also a deterrent. But having said that, there are indications. We just had our spring tourism market update last week, and there are indications by our partners in Japan that later this summer and going into the fourth quarter, we should be able to see some returns. And of course, Golden Week is right around the corner. That'll give us an early indication of what the third and fourth quarter might look like.
Oh, good. Yeah, that's great timing. So yes, we'll have to have you back on after that, and we can get a sense of how it all worked out. But
Love to do it.
Yeah, that would be wonderful, because you're right. We forget. I forget, not being in the industry full time, but Golden Week we always hear is, as you say, it kind of sets the tone for what we can expect, which is always great to understand. So, and one of the things that you've been working on a lot is how do we reconcile tourism success and address the pressures placed on our communities? And I know that it's been a huge focus of the work that you were doing through the DMAP process and in other areas in our community. Can you tell us a little bit about how that's going?
Sure. And I would encourage our listeners to go to the HTA website and actually access the Destination Management Action Plan for Maui Nui, which is a 3-island plan. What I'd like to emphasize is that those plans were initiated by convening a diverse steering committee on each island. And the committee is comprised of residents and descendants of each of the islands who were encouraged and tasked with identifying those areas on the island that are hotspots, where the impact on those places, on those communities, were having an adverse effect and in need of solutions, whether it be additional parking, whether it be reservation fees. And so those plans put together a 3-year action plan. Later this summer, we'll be arriving at year number 3 on Maui. And we issue quarterly reports on what tasks have been accomplished or the status of a work in progress, or in areas where progress has not moved forward. Those are identified as well. But I think the importance, Pam, is that these plans are not HTA's plans. HTA serves as a neutral convener. Mm-hmm. Each island's people of the community and the industry co-authored these plans, which outlines priorities, action steps, sub-action steps, lead agencies, whether it be at the county level or state level. There's quite a bit of coordination that goes on from my side of it, but I cannot thank the people of Maui, Molokai, and Lanai who took the initiative, because they love their islands and they love their communities, to try and create a more sustainable vision for tourism. And you can only do that by engaging the community directly.
Absolutely. And I want to say, as somebody who's participated in the process, first off, you and your team have really led the process and made sure it was an inclusive process throughout. And I have said in many different venues and many times, I've participated in plenty activities over the decades that I've lived in Hawaii, and I've said this is the first plan that I've really participated in, where we always say we're here and we're going to get all this great community input, and the plan is never going to sit on the shelf. And this is the first plan where the program you designed ensured that all of that community input was not sitting on the shelf. That with your quarterly reports and status updates, and as you said, some things maybe didn't move forward for different reasons, but everybody clearly understands what is moving forward, why it's moving forward, where it's at, what the next steps are, if something didn't move forward, why that occurred, and understand that. And people can then say, oh, yeah, we agree with why that happened. And then how do we move forward from there to continue to achieve the goals that we're striving to achieve? Really, I know, and I want to say this because you mentioned there's some work in the background, and it's a lot of work that you and your team are doing to ensure that the website's updated, that the information's there, that you reach out to your DMAP those who were involved in the Destination Management Action Plan process on a regular basis make sure we're informed. So your spear carriers are also out there continuing to engage the community. It really is the most comprehensive thing I've seen in a very long time.
Oh, I have the opportunity occasionally to sit in on the steering committee meetings, and I will tell you that what I love is the spirit and the personality of each island is a reflection of its people.
Yeah.
And you cannot come out of Honolulu or Waikiki and think you're going to solve the problems in Hana or Molokai, right, or Kahului. And the people who live there, the people who reside there, the people who are multi-generational on the island, they understand the hot spots and the areas that need urgent attention. And when you live with a challenge or a problem or a hot spot, you're incentivized to solve it. Our challenge at HTA is getting enough resources to the communities financially or with administrative support so that these pathway to solutions can be accelerated. But if I live with a problem, I'm incentivized to fix it, and more than likely, I have some good ideas about how to go about solving it, as opposed to exporting it out of Honolulu. And so I've really, we've all learned a lot through this, and we've still got a lot of work. Believe me, once the 3-year plan is completed, we will then have arrived at the bottom of the next mountain that we have to scale, right? And so it really is a process, and it's one that we need to commit to because we want Maui, Molokai, and Lanai to be more resilient as a community, a natural resource base that is healthier and flourishing 2-3 generations from now, so that those descendants can establish a quality of life that is healthy and full of well-being for themselves. So we have an obligation at this time to make sure that we put the framework in place, the network of people who care. I have to compliment the county administration on Maui and every county, from the mayors throughout each of the county departments. They have made DMAP, Destination Management Action Planning, a priority. Mm-hmm. And that's the only way it's going to work, is if we do this collaboratively and in the right spirit. And I'm happy to report that we had that with your previous mayor, Victorino, and we certainly have it in Mayor Bisson.
I'm so glad to know that, too. I'm glad to hear it from you. I believed it would always be true because of who he is and his priorities, but I'm glad to hear that that's true and you feel that way as well. And it is really exciting. And as you point out, it's a long-term process. And to that point, and you and I've had some concerns that I've shared with you, because this year at the state legislature, there was legislation proposed to dissolve HTA. And, I know that there were issues some legislators had, but it was really concerning to me and others that here we are with this great momentum and a phenomenal plan and the long-standing relationships that HTA has in the work that they've been doing for decades. And we were looking at a time when we're at this sort of renaissance and reinvention and and seeing capacity go up, but in a different way, which is the way we wanted, less but spending more and helping out more, and with people who are wanting to learn more about Hawaii. So can you tell us, I know it's been moving fast and we're getting down to conference committee, but can you give us a quick update on the legislation and where HTA stands today in
Sure.
The bills moving
Sure.
forward?
Let me preface this by saying that I think certainly myself, my board, our senior executive team, and our staff recognize that HTA has been in existence for roughly 25 years. And changes and improvements should be made to it. We've learned too much, okay? And we've learned that there are jurisdictional issues. We've learned that there are systemic issues that can possibly be better aligned with new laws and new statutes. I think the concern that we have about the current legislative bills is the abrupt manner with which this change would be introduced, which is basically to go back 25 years before HTA was created and embedding the department at DBET. Okay, and I recall when the Office of Tourism existed, the physical office existed in DBET, and HTA was created back then to really become a leader in the industry that would establish and protect a common brand and commercial brand for the islands, and advance that brand with its contractual partners. As such, we have an obligation to inform the legislature and its leadership that jerking this system back 25 years is not in the best interest of the community, and it's not in the best interest of Hawaii's brand in the global marketplace.
Right.
What we advocated and continue to advocate is that there should be a tourism governance model study. Look around the world, look in different states in America, and identify governance systems that may be applicable to us here in Hawaii or may be customized for that reason. And this is a position that was established by the Economic Forecast Research Organization, UHERO, up at UH, that we identified with, still do. And we thought we had both tourism chairs in October of 22. At that time, Senator Wakai and Representative Onishi, who held a joint hearing on this topic. And at that time, both of them committed to the fact that they would advocate for that study before a revamping of HTA would take place. Now, both of those gentlemen are no longer tourism chairs, but we are fortunate to have, frankly, one of your own, Senator DeCoit, Molokai in East Maui, and from the North Shore, Representative Sean Quinlan, both of them chairing the tourism committees. And so we've had our chance in committee hearings to make our case. We are at odds on how best to go about doing this, but we have now reached the point of entering the conference committees, and we're committed to working with both of those chairs and the conference committees that will be named sometime in the next 24, 48 hours to make sure that we're providing them with the best insight for them to make an informed decision. But I will 100% say that dissolving of HTA at this particular time is not in the best interest of the state of Hawaii. And I'm looking forward to working diligently over the next week when called upon by the conference committees.
I certainly hope so. I truly do. You know, from a business standpoint, you see, and as you point out, the board recognizes it's a older organization. There's always room to pivot and make changes. There's always, things that come up in changing times. And there's always things we can do better.
But, there is a systems alignment, right? Because in the 2.5 years that I've been at HTA, there has been a common theme of we have enough visitors at the current level or we need less. That's kind of a uniform theme, right? And then occasionally I'll run into somebody that says, we should be doing 12 million visitors instead of 10 million. But my point being that several thousand hotel rooms are now permitted for new construction.
Right.
We have 12 new gates at Honolulu Airport since I got to HTA, okay? That type of expansion is happening in a way that is detached from going back to the DMAP process,
Right,
right?
where the communities are asking to go.
The community is calling for one thing, the system's delivering something else, and we just need to get that into alignment, right?
Yeah.
So that we end up managing this in the right way. When we talk about DMAPs, I often I said in Hawaii, the chief DMAP officer is called the governor. and on each island, they're called the mayor, right? Because that kind of department structure, cabinet structure, the system that you need to truly manage the future of our largest industry resides in those levels. The value of HTA is that HTA can move in a much more nimble manner.
Right.
It's going to be critical that whatever happens in this session, that there's a dedicated source of funding. We have been operating with federal funds over the last 2 fiscal years. For instance, I will tell you, we were told we're getting $60 million effective July 1 of last summer. We got confirmation on those funds in November.
Yeah.
And the confirmation came to the tune of $35 million. And we're still trying to access those dollars, okay? And we're already more than halfway through the fiscal year. You cannot operate any business with that level of uncertainty. And so a dedicated source of funding, whether it's from the general fund, my preference would be that it be restored from the transient accommodation tax, and the restoration of a tourism special fund that would allow us to carry funds over into the next fiscal year and function more like a business in the private sector than living from fiscal cycle to fiscal cycle. Yeah. Paramount would be that the legislature is given the level of transparency and accountability that it deserves and warrants. All of our financials are reviewed, revised, and or approved monthly and posted publicly on our website. And as you know, all of our board meetings are agendized and open to the public. I've never been in a more transparent organization than this, and there's good reason. When you were dealing with public money, we should be held to a higher standard. And the public trust has to be earned and maintained.
Well, and to that end, I think you have shown through the DMAP process that you have earned public trust. And from my standpoint, personally, it seems that while there might be some concern over direction or some management issues, those things can easily be addressed in the work that's being done. The work that's being done, which is what the public cares most about, is, as you say, and you brought up new points that I think need to be brought up, which is if the community is saying one thing and then on an economic development strategy, we're adding more capacity and infrastructure. You said, as you point out, we have to look at higher levels of government, the governor and our mayors, and come to alignment and broader agreement. I think that, and again, as a nonprofit, understanding how that works, where you get one confirmation and then down the road you hear that this is what you're actually going to receive in terms of funding, and then you can't use the money until the grant's signed off on it. We understand those delays. The nonprofit sector completely understands government delays in those kinds of grants, and I wholeheartly agree with you that can't be the way that we need to go. That we do
sure.
Need to have
and Pam, let me say
funding.
this: that the new construction may be warranted, right? It may be replacing old and dilapidated inventory. At the same time, each county is taking more aggressive steps on enforcing and shutting down illegal vacation rentals that should not be operating. So at this stage in our future, there may be some offsets here that make sense. But as we go forward into the future, it's going to be important that we align these sentiments that are coming from the community with our planning process, land planning, zoning, permitting, because all of that is tourism, and
Right.
and we need to be responsible in its totality. So I raised that with that, but certainly the investment that is being made to construct these new inventory cannot be taken lightly. We depend on the jobs that are created,
Yeah.
and keeping the inventory of accommodations fresh and competitive. So to that end, but it is going to be important that we get in a stronger alignment so we can benefit from community input and get in front of the concerns that may emerge every time there is a new development. So, yeah, that is very much a part of the responsibility when we talk about destination management.
Yeah, I really think you're doing tremendous work. I can't say it enough. We've got just another quick minute, but based on the last 3 years and your time there at HTA and the work that you've been doing through the DMAP process, and you've talked about your excitement in that and what you're learning and what you're learning from the communities and their engagement in coming up with solutions and action items. What excites you most about the next 3 years?
I think what excites me the most is there are increasingly more entrepreneurs and small businesses that are beginning to recognize that tourism, metaphorically, is like a river running through the valley, and that river can be tapped. So that in taro farming, they refer to that as the awai, right? So that whatever water I need for my hollow patch, I can tap off of the stream or river, right? I don't need the whole stream. I don't need the whole river.
Right.
And that's a metaphor for locally made products, locally made, locally hosted and created experiences. I think the market is going to call for more authenticity, more meaningful experiences. And the good news is you can only get that from people in the community. And sometimes they need to be cultural experts and practitioners. So what excites me is that when we had the record year in 2019, and where we pushed the limits and went over 10 million, 6 months later we went to zero in terms of visitor arrivals.
Right.
That created a kind of a point of view that too many visitors that are not managed properly can have an adverse impact, and no visitors can induce an adverse impact as well. And I think more people began to see the opportunities that came with e-commerce and being able to export goods and services abroad. And now that tourism is beginning to show signs of recovering more fully, I think there are opportunities out there, and entrepreneurs and business people are going to have a big role in being able to make the visit to Hawaii a personal experience, and frankly, that aspect of it is what excites me.
I couldn't agree with you more. We do the Maine and Maui County Festival, and to have locally made products from Maui, Molokai, and Lanai, and to see the excitement and interest in products made, I always say, by local hands and hearts, is just, it's energizing and flourishing and building. So I think we have all of that going on as well. John, thank you so much for joining us and being a wealth of information. We are here to help, and we'll share with our legislators our concern and our interest in seeing some positive things coming forward, encouraging the study from the University of Hawaii Economic Research Organization to look at these models, to not go back 25 years, keep HTA intact, and and work through some of the concerns, as I know you and your board are willing to do. But your organization is doing tremendous work, and I thank you for you and your team for all of your tremendous efforts to serve not only our state but Maui County.
Appreciate it, and your leadership, Pamela, has been invaluable to us. Thank you, and thanks for having me this morning.
It's our pleasure. We're going to ask you to come on again soon. Thank you, and I hope you have a wonderful day.
I will. You too as well. Take care.
Thank you, John. You too. Aloha. Okay, we're going to be right back after a quick message from our sponsor, Mokulele Airlines.
Mokulele Airlines operates the largest commuter airline hub in the country, right here in Kahului. Fly Mokulele from Kahului to Molokai, Lanai, Hana, Waimea, Kona, and now Hilo. Mokulele also operates the only flights between Kapalua and Honolulu. There is never a middle seat on Mokulele, and every seat has a window and aisle. Visit mokuleleairlines.com and take your next flight from the newly renovated Mokulele Terminal.
And we are back, and we are going to have on with us now Doreen Forsberg. She is the Hawaii Sales and Account Manager for People Ready. People Ready specializes in quick and reliable on-demand labor and highly skilled workers. And with the worker shortage that everybody seems to be experiencing, we hear about it every day at the Maui Chamber of Commerce, we are thrilled to have Doreen share with us. Doreen, are you on?
Yes, I am. Good morning, Pam.
Good morning. So great to have you back on the show. How are you today?
I'm good. It's a beautiful morning, right? You wake up. It's a great way to start the day.
It is. Oh my gosh, and we are very blessed. I'm looking at blue skies and sunshine.
Same here.
So
things we take for granted, right?
Say that again, Doreen. I'm sorry.
Things we take for granted.
Things that we take for granted, for sure. I know it's time to take some moments to appreciate it. Well,
Exactly.
I'm so glad to have you on. I know that we keep hearing about unemployment numbers, and we keep hearing about significant worker shortages. And so I'm wondering, can you tell us what you're seeing at People Ready and how People Ready is helping?
You know, if you asked me the same question 2 weeks ago, I would have told you I probably would take stocks in Miss Clairol. But in the recent week and a half, we've seen some changes where we're slowly getting in more and more people looking for work. So it's definitely a change that's happening. But still, overall, island-wide, nationwide, we're still battling, right? I think, especially here on Maui, as well as each of the islands, we share the worker pool, right? So Mr. Joe can go from People Ready to the other staffing companies as well. So definitely a challenge when we all have requests that are coming in from companies needing our assistance. But it's like a puzzle to me. You know, we find not fun in it, but we find the angst to want to get people out to work.
Yes, and you do a great job. I know you're constantly recruiting, and another part of that you help people understand is, you know, one of the other issues is not just recruiting new, but how to, in this environment, and where people are, you know, maybe often looking at other jobs or hearing about other opportunities because everybody's so desperate. How do businesses help to sustain their current workforce?
You know, and it's a alarming question because nationwide, especially here in Hawaii, with the lack of staffing for a lot of businesses, that's putting a lot of pressure on their current staff, right? Lower productivity, increased risk in regards to safety, and expecting, a lot of their individual employees to give that extra 1,000%. And that's how you got staff burnout. That's why we get a lot of call outs in days. People are tired. For some of our associates out there, they're working like 52 hours a week just to help out, some of our customers. And you've got people that want to work, right? They want to give that 1,000%. And then we've got those that, as soon as the 40 hours is done, they're done. They need that
Right.
break, which you can't blame either side because, everyone needs a break every now and then. And that's what's happening. That I see some businesses, again, overtime pay, lower productivity for some of the projects, may be longer than expected. Um, and then turnovers overall, that's where we see a lot of turnovers.
Right.
And for here at People Ready, and I think for a lot of staffing companies, with us being a staffing company, and we run everything on our mobile app, which we call JobStack. The workers, the associates is what we call them. They have an option to choose where they want to go. For most of our associates, they have set positions that they're currently working at, but there's individuals that only want to do a 1V or 2V days, and they can simply go on our app, choose what they want to do, and they show up on the job site. And so that's one of the nice changes. There's full-time work, there's part-time work, there's nighttime, daytime, there's the overnight shift. So it's a variety for people to choose from.
I think that's awesome, and I love to hear how you're breaking that down and being able to work with your clients. And your clients are both the employees and the companies, but giving the employees flexible options to choose from. And again, I'm sure you're finding employers happy to take any of those folks that are really ready and committed to working in, because we're just hearing tremendous shortages, but also even bringing in the part-time folks will give relief to some of the staff that's been with you forever, really committed, but just getting burnt out with a lot of the extra time.
Yes, we have a couple of customers that we work with. They're looking for full-time help, and it's 40 hours a week. But based on what this one particular customer does, he'll take, if our associates can give 2-3 days, he'll take them. So yes, he's looking for 40 hours a week, but for this year, they realize that maybe, it's a 40-hour week work, but hey, I'll take it. If they can guarantee me a consistent 2-3 days a week, I'll take them. So, trying to work around what the current staffing market has to what the customer needs is having, it's like a puzzle, and just to make sure that the customer gets what they want and making sure the associate, sticks to what they agree to.
Yeah. I think that's a tremendous approach. And I know that's one of the things that makes People Ready different from some of the other employment agencies, and how you help businesses and workers with their needs. What are some of the other things that make you unique? And how can people reach out to you?
So JobStack plays a major part with us. JobStack is our mobile application that both our associates, which is workers, and our customers can utilize. So for the associates, the worker side, they apply through our mobile app. They come in, finish up the required Hawai'i paperwork. And as soon as they're done with that, they can see the multiple jobs that we have openings, and they can choose what they want to go with. And on that particular app, it states exactly what the job entails, what the pay rate is at, and what sort of equipment if they need, and how they should come dressed. And then that's on the associate side. And then once they get to the job site, they have to click that they arrived. So if they're stating that they're arriving and they're still at home, the mobile app won't allow them to check in because it'll tell them that they're not at the job site, so that's technically check in. And this allows the associates, weekends, right? If they're sitting down and they're like, hey, I think I'm off Monday, let's see what People Ready has to offer, so they can go on our mobile app and see what kind of jobs is available. For the customer side, at the end of a long day work, they're tired, they want to go home and relax. And then they realize, hey, I forgot to put in my order for tomorrow, or I need workers maybe in 48 hours. They can go on the app and actually put in an order with us. And then as soon as the order is put in by the customer, the associate who qualifies or who is in that requirements area, we'll get notifications saying, "Hey, Pam just put in an order. If you're interested, take it." So it works both ways. So JobStack is our mobile application that we've had for a few years right now, and it's been amazing for us. So that the JobStack can help us fill a request overnight if needed and over the weekend. But anyone that's interested can always give us a call at 808-877-7886. Our offices are normally open, meaning by phone, from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Saturdays we're open partly, but our calls are always, someone will always answer the call 24/7. If it goes to voicemail, the voicemail side will give us a call telling us that we have a voicemail pending for us to listen. So we make sure that we're always reachable.
Doreen, I love that.
And if they want to apply, if they want to apply, they can always go to peopleready.com to apply or contact us, and we can always email them our QR code as well.
Oh my gosh, that is all the way down to a QR code. I love it. You're very accessible, and I really love that. Again, as businesses also know, hey, I just found out my worker's sick, or they're going to be out. They can post jobs at the 11th hour, and they'll be up right away. Which is
can I make a
amazing.
final comment?
Yeah, thank you so much for all you do at People Ready, and we want to encourage everybody, visit the People Ready website and make sure you learn more about them. There's a lot of flexibility there, both in what the work they do with their workers and how they help businesses, and I'm just always amazed at how available they are.
Can I make one more comment, though?
Yes, please, go ahead.
The biggest thing that I've noticed with our workforce, with our company workers, one thing that we see out of the workers is that they all like to be acknowledged, whether or not a simple thank you, a simple tap on the shoulders, a handshake, or just simply knowing that what they do for us makes a difference. And so we've been trying to instill that in our workers. And telling our customers, just say thank you, not so much to our workers if you don't want to, but to your own staff. And just being thankful for what they do for each company goes a long way.
Absolutely. Great advice from Doreen. So listen to her kind words because she's telling you what needs to happen. and we should all operate that way every day. It takes a team. And you always need to appreciate your team and the work they do for you. So, Doreen, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you have a blessed day.
You too, Pam. Aloha, and thank you for all you do.
Thank you. Oh, we appreciate you. Take good care. We're now going to have Robert Campbell join us. He is the president of Maui Printing Company, and Maui Printing Company has been in business since 1981, and he is proud to be a locally owned and operated business and very long-time chamber member. Hi, Robert.
Hey.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good, Pam. How are you this morning?
Oh, it is a gorgeous day in Maui, Nate.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
I'm loving it and feeling great.
Yeah, me too. It's all good. All good for another day, and we still to report. We have whales jumping over in Lahaina. So just so everybody knows, there's still a few whales out there.
Go see them while you can. It's getting close.
There you go. So what do you want to talk about this morning?
Well, I want to talk about what's happening at Maui Printing Company, and I know there's so many amazing things that you keep expanding your offerings. Let's talk about some of the exciting things that you're doing this year in 2023 and talk to people about how they can learn more about your tremendous services.
Sure. So, as you know, it's been maybe a 35-year tour here on the islands, and, we've been consider ourselves a full-service printing solutions provider. And as we've grown, we've, expanded those capabilities considerably. some of the areas that we're, kind of working our way into, and we've been for many years now, is direct mail marketing stuff. And people, kind of think direct mail marketing. And I think in the past, folks have always thought about, oh, this is a big, mass mailing, and we're going to mail a lot of different things. But that's kind of shifted a little bit in people's marketing plans. And more of the type of work that we do now is all targeted marketing, where we're, helping people identify specific sections of the market that would be preferable them to market into. And sometimes this could be as little as 100 prospects to 500, 2,500. And that seems to be an area that people are very interested in. So that's kind of working out real good for us.
Awesome.
I'm
loving that because it's not that blanket that everybody, remembers.
Yeah.
And again, and I think that was one of the failures of over time of direct. People got so much of it at one point. I remember the Great Recession. There was so much of that people were overwhelmed. But now you can get to those that really are in your niche. So that's fantastic.
Yeah. And the Postal Service is really offering a lot of good things too. They have a program called EDVM, which is Every Door Direct, where you can actually pick mail routes that are close to your place of business, so you can mail directly to the people that are in your neighborhood. And we're finding a lot of restaurants and small businesses using that particular service, and it's only about, I think, around 19-20 cents per postage per piece. So that starts to become pretty reasonable when you're talking about just mailing smaller quantities and stuff like that. So that's kind of one of the areas that we're involved with quite a bit. And I guess another area we're kind of working on a lot is our signage. We've beefed up our signage and department, where we're doing a lot of real estate type of signs, a lot of point of purchase stuff, vehicle magnets, all sorts of different types of products for that.
That's fantastic. Well, we've got the market for that.
Oh, my
And those
goodness.
are signs you can put on your car and quickly increase your marketing capacity at a nominal cost.
Yeah. So that's kind of another one of our areas that we're growing quite a bit, and we've got a couple people on staff now that do that, and that's kind of their area of expertise, and so they just take care of handling all that stuff for us. Let's see what else we got going on. Of course, we've always been the one-stop shop for either digital or offset printing and graphics, so that's kind of been our bread and butter. So we've stuck with that, and we've got two graphic designers on staff. We have Abby Breceros, and we have Jason Strand. He's been with us for quite a while. And Abby's kind of a new addition. She came on in 2020, and she actually came from another existing business here on Maui called Tradewind Graphics. And and she came along with almost 60 or 70 websites that we're managing now. So that kind of, Rob, the owner of that business, retired in the first part right before 2020, right before the pandemic, and she came over. So I don't think a lot of people realize that we do website design. We manage websites for people. We update websites for people. So she's pretty busy doing that. And so that's another one of our facets and areas of our business that we do that I don't think a lot of people are really aware that we even do that.
I don't think that's something people even think of necessarily a printing company doing. So that I'm glad that you're sharing that.
Yeah. And so the other kind of big area that we're doing is we've really beefed up our e-commerce site. So, we recognize that a lot of people like to just go online, purchase their printing, upload their files. I mean, there's no mystery that there's a lot of companies on the mainland that are built businesses based on that. But, we've got a pretty substantial sized website. We add a lot of products as we see people, looking to call our customer service team, whether it be Tanya or Gwen on either one of our inside service, customer service people. As we start to see them calling in, we try to create those products on the website so people can just, shop from their own computer and not have to really worry about anything more than just uploading their file and putting in their charge card and going from there.
It's fantastic. And the other thing is that you offer regular specials to those who sign up to learn more about Maui Printing Company. Tell us about some of the specials that you folks offer.
Yeah, that's another area that we do. We do the e-commerce type of marketing where we're doing e-blasts, and we have specials, whether it be brochures, rack cards, postcards. Just pretty much we just take all of our products and come up every month. We come up with a different special, and we send that off to people, and that's been a really big thing for us, and it's worked out pretty good. You know, we're no different than anybody else. We've had to kind of adapt our marketing and our strategies to, online type of stuff. But that still doesn't negate the fact that printing is still seemingly being a pretty integral part in people's marketing and advertising still.
It is. Absolutely. And I want to say, as somebody who has used your services for many years, top-notch quality.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Pam. We do, I think that, we spend a lot of time doing training and quality control and trying to create, the best products that we can for our folks. And as you know, we've put a considerable amount of resources into upgrading equipment, staying up with technology, putting in systems that, ensure the quality of the pieces that we print, because most of the people that we are printing for, they have a pretty high expectation for what they're going to get when they open up that box and look at that printing.
They do. Well, tell everybody really quickly, we're going to have to close. I'm getting the warning, but give everybody your website.
Oh, yes. You can reach us 24/365 at Maui Printing, www.mauiprinting.com.
Awesome. Thank you, Robert, for joining us. It's been a great pleasure to have you, and just want to thank everybody who's tuned in this morning to Business Matters, sponsored by Mokulele Airlines. I'm Pamela Tumpop, President of Maui Chamber of Commerce, wishing you a beautiful Maui day, and we hope to see you again next Tuesday. Aloha.